Hi guys, Ben from BensGameTime here, and welcome back to another installment of talking about a children's game based off a TV show. Today we'll be looking at Fairly OddParents Breaking the Rules, based off of, well, The Fairly OddParents. The Fairly OddParents was one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows growing up as a kid, third or fourth favorite behind SpongeBob, Rugrats, and Jimmy Neutron. The show was just more relatable, having busy parents, hating school and having that one teacher you just didn't like, having a crush on that one girl that was way out of your league, and having to deal with your evil babysitter. Okay, so I didn't have an evil babysitter, and I definitely didn't have magical fairies that could grant my every wish, but the show was still cool. While the show lasted a long time, outlasting Jimmy Neutron and Rugrats plus its all-grown-up sequel, it ended up losing its edge, which you hate to see. The newer seasons and characters just couldn't keep the magic going for me, but I still have fond memories of the early seasons. So, let's see if Breaking the Rules can match the quality of the original seasons, or if it's more like the new ones.
Breaking the Rules starts with Timmy's parents going away on a weekend seminar, and as they put it,
"We certainly won't be having any fun this weekend!"
They're gonna fuck!
This means Timmy is gonna be stuck with Vicky the whole weekend, causing him to try to make a wish that violates the rules. Timmy then wishes away the rules, which inadvertently gives both control of the rules and wish-making powers to Vicky, who finds the book. Now Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda have to get the rules back in 2 days, or Cosmo and Wanda will lose their fairy licenses. The catch is that Cosmo and Wanda can't use their regular wands, and can only use training wands until the rules are recovered. This is done by recovering different pages of the rules in each level until the book is complete. This isn't a bad setup to this game, and I'm at least invested into what's going on. Graphically, this game looks fine. Like, yeah, I believe this is a GameCube game, but it isn't top-tier GameCube graphics. What isn't fine is the audio. Every character sounds staticky when they talk.
"It can be mean like that! You can adjust your view!"
The mayor has been kidnapped!
"Will you, Brad, keep it down?"
It's like they were constantly maxing out their mics and then took a cheese grater to the audio tracks. This wouldn't be so bad if it was only in cutscenes, but this happens during the game as well, and man do Cosmo and Wanda talk a lot, and they repeat the same shitty lines and jokes over and over again.
"You have 2 wish stars, or 1 binary star. You have 2 wish stars, or 1 binary star. You have 2 wish stars, or 1 binary star. You have 1 star, in keeping with the binary theme."
Get it? It's binary, like in video games!
In terms of gameplay, Breaking the Rules is a typical platformer, but with a handful of twists. You have your traditional double jump, and collecting 100 crowns rewards an extra life. During each level, you have to look for and catch 5 wish stars. The wish stars will typically try to run from you, but they are really easy to catch, and they'll eventually just stop moving. Collecting 5 wish stars allows you to step on a wish pad to make a wish and collect a page of the rules. The wishes are pretty much just used to move each level's plot along and change up the gameplay a bit. This causes the levels to be very linear, which is fine. These levels are supposed to feel like episodes from the show, so linearity is kind of required for that. Levels will periodically have doors in them that act as save points, but you can just pass them by since the game is pretty easy overall. One thing that I don't like about this game is the camera. You can rotate it around Timmy just fine, and there's even a button to quickly put it behind you. However, you can't move it up or down, which can make some jumps harder to gauge. The best part of the gameplay is how lives are handled. You get 3 hits to a life, but losing a life isn't a big setback. In fact, losing a life doesn't even give you a death animation, and you don't lose progress in the level. Instead, you just get to continue from where you left off instantly. This makes the lives more like one long health bar, and only when you lose all your lives do you need to start over. This is such a great mechanic, and it was honestly ahead of its time with how most games, even after this one released, have death animations and wait times to trying again. Just look at Mario. Even in the Galaxy and New Super Mario games, there were still death animations and no quick restarts.
This game has 8 levels to it, all filled with hits, misses, and callbacks to the show. So let's take a look at what worked and what didn't.
Each level starts in pretty much the same way. Vicky uses her new wish powers to set up each level, and it's up to Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda to undo the damage while finding pages of the rules. Chinless Blunder, based on the Crimson Chin episodes, has Vicky wish that the Chin loses his powers, and it's up to Timmy to get them back from the villains that took them. Each of the star getting portions take place in the same town square, and they always spawn in the same places with the same movement patterns, so it gets old a little fast in this level. The first villain that needs to be taken care of is Country Boy, and this is done by wishing for a propeller flight ability. The Country Boy boss fight is actually fairly unique, as you need to use your propeller to cut down the bombs he releases. The fight is pretty easy, but it has a cool concept, so it gets a pass. However, the second villain isn't as cool and is a complete joke. Spatula Woman, which is the dumbest name for a villain ever, kidnapped the mayor and has one of the Chin's superpowers. To save the mayor, you need to press 3 buttons that are easy to get to while using your Chinarangs to stun Spatula Woman's minions. The boss fight against Spatula Woman is a complete joke. You can just wait behind these boxes to avoid her attacks, and then you need to hit her with a Chinarang when she taunts you. Also, Timmy calls Spatula Woman a floozy, which is such a slap in the face to hear.
Justice will never rest, you utensil-wielding floozy!
The final villain is Gilded Arches, and you need to chase him on rooftops using your grapple glove. This segment of the level is cool, and the music is not bad with a disco vibe. However, this boss fight is also way too easy. You just need to grapple his helicopter and hold on until his health meter depletes completely. Overall, this level is just okay. The boss fights were just too easy, but the wishes were cool. What's odd is that this level didn't include the Bronze Kneecap in it, the villain that appeared in the show. Why wasn't he included? That's like having a Batman game without the Joker, or a Superman game without terrible gameplay. The Vicky virus, based on the episode where Timmy, Chester, and AJ all get trapped in a video game, starts in a pretty similar fashion with Vicky wishing the three to be trapped in the game so the house is quiet. Yeah, this was pretty much just ripped from the show without too much getting changed, so I'm not too impressed. There's a snowplow segment that's way too slow. What's nice about this level is that you get to play as Chester and AJ in small segments, which is neat, but AJ's segment is pretty bad. You need to race a hovercraft through some gates in a time trial, but the hovercraft refuses to turn. It's so slippery. It's like when your mom just mopped the floor and it's still wet and you're trying to reach the chips, but instead you just crash into the fridge. Chester's segment is just a bug shooting segment, which is alright, nothing special. The final boss is an easy fight, and the level overall is just kind of boring. It's strange to see that the video game theme level of a video game is bad. I mean, there are a fair amount of references to other games, but gameplay wise, it's just bland. A badge too far, based on the one episode where Timmy was part of the Squirrely Scouts. The story for this one is that both the Squirrely Scouts and Vicky's Cream Puff Scouts have camp, but Vicky wishes that the Cream Puffs could earn more merit badges than the Squirrely Scouts, which results in the kidnapping of all the other Squirrely Scouts. This is supposed to be a stealth level, where you must use cover to save the other Scouts. In reality, you don't need to use stealth at all. The Cream Puffs have terrible lines of sight and you can easily get around while out in the open. Near the end of the level, there's a segment where you're in the Cream Puffs camp, which could have made for some more difficult stealth challenges, but you're in the skies while there, so there's really no challenge at all. This level is also just bland and boring to play. Mini Timmy, based on the episode where Timmy shrinks to the microscopic level for a science report. Here, Timmy was about to take a bath.
I feel like I'm gonna be arrested for saying that.
When Vicky sees a spider in the tub and wishes for Timmy to clean every last part of it, causing Timmy to shrink. Now Timmy has to climb his way out of the tub while dealing with the germs and grime all around him. If this level highlights anything, it's how weak Timmy's jump is. I haven't mentioned it before as, for the most part, you can platform just fine with Timmy's double jump even though you don't get much height. But in this level, for some reason, Timmy has more weight to him and platforming is much tougher. This isn't because the game is getting more difficult either, as I could platform just fine in later levels. It's just this level that has severely wonky platforming. Also, the beginning of the level has a part where you can't backtrack to if you miss something, unless you want to lose a life that is. Yeah, real great level design here guys. There's a tightrope segment that's slow and unnecessary, and near the end of the level you get an elevated jump to climb out of the drain. The problem with this jump is that it is described to match up to a plunger when there isn't a plunger or anything new that appears on screen to indicate when to jump. What you actually need to do is time the jump to the bubbles around you, which, those aren't plungers, they're bubbles. What the hell? This level ends with a boss that's also easy to defeat, going down in 3 hits. This was my least favorite level in the game, It's just so poorly designed and uninteresting. Time Warped is the obligatory time travel level, which is probably a thing. I've seen it in a few games besides this one. Timmy looks at Vicky's homework, and of course it's all wrong. Vicky wishes that Timmy could see she's actually right, which causes him to go back in time into Vicky's revised history. And of course, this level has to start with the obligatory time travel when joke.
I wonder when I am.
Ha!
You begin the level in medieval times, where you have to retrieve Excalibur for Arthur. Wanda and Timmy also make a point about not letting anyone see them, implying that this is another stealth segment, but this isn't the case. You can easily walk in front of the knights and not get penalized unless they hit you directly. Speaking of the knights in this level reference Monty Python in their walk cycle, which is a cool touch. This is also the point in the game where wishes get recycled, with the grapple ability making a return, which is just lazy. You pull out Excalibur in a button mashing minigame, return to Arthur, and then you're on your way to Egypt. In Egypt, Vicky changed the pyramids to cubes, so now you have to change the cubes around the map into pyramids with a magical hammer. Wanda says that it's okay to be seen by people now, which is bullshit because time travel rules should still apply, but hey, if they didn't care enough to implement it properly when it was supposed to matter, then why should I care now? After changing all the cubes in the level to pyramids, the Egyptians are like,
"Oh shit, that's actually dope,"
and change the rest of the background cubes into pyramids themselves. The last part of this level is in ancient Greece, where Vicky made it so they didn't like sports. To fix this, you need to find the statues of people eating food and chisel them into the traditional sports statues, which rips off Egypt from the same level! Come on, couldn't they have come up with a different solution to this problem? Oh, and apparently it's bad to be seen again? Who fucking cares? Moving on. Bad Luck 101 has Timmy going to school on a Saturday, because why not at this point? Need an excuse to include Mr. Crocker in the game. Vicky wishes for Timmy to get all her bad luck, which leads to 3 anti-fairies to follow Timmy around. The anti-fairy boss fights throughout the level are the same as the Gilded Archers fight, just hold on until you win. Crocker does show up in this level, requiring you to hide from him.
Finally, an actual stealth segment!
And it's incredibly easy and Crocker isn't even a threat. Also, there was what I assume was a glitch with the audio before the second anti-fairy fight, where the dialogue gets overtaken by the in-game audio from the nearby enemies. There's a part of this level where you get rocket boots and need to dodge left and right down a hallway. However, if you run into anything, you lose a life and have to try again from the beginning, and you have to watch the cutscene again. Overall, this level is actually fairly solid. Not a bad time. Crash Landing starts with Vicky wishing for an alien invasion, and she gets abducted in the process. Now it's up to Timmy to stop the invasion. Oh, and save Vicky too, I guess that's also important. The aliens turn out to be the Yugopotamians, and as enemies, man do these guys suck. Because the Yugopotamians hate all things nice and cute, they will just back away from Timmy, making them one of the worst enemies in the game. They can fire a blaster at you that shoots a super slow bubble shot that is barely a threat. The best part of this level is that you get a transformation to be Crash Nebula, which is just awesome.
Remember when Crash Nebula was just as important as the Crimson Chin in the Fairly OddParents? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Traversing the Yugopotamian ship isn't difficult, and near the end you get a jetpack that acts similarly to the Bubble Jump in Mini Timmy, except here you can use it whenever. The problem with the jetpack is that it severely highlights the issue of not being able to raise or lower the camera, making some jumps turn into pure guesswork. The boss fight for this level calls back to the original 3 trials that Timmy faced in the first episode the Yugopotamians were in, which is a cool idea, but it's also pretty easy. This level is also not bad, and had plenty of fan service, which is always a plus for these kinds of games. The last level in the game, A Dog's Life, has Timmy turned into a dog, and Tootie, Vicky's sister, falls in love with him. This makes it not possible to turn back, as that would violate the not interfering with true love rule. Timmy then gets caught by a dog catcher and is taken to the mall's pet store, and must find a way to get Tootie to fall out of love with him. This level is just bizarre, starting with the people in the mall. Everyone hates you for some reason, which is ridiculous. Everyone loves dogs. You also need to avoid Tootie at some points, but you can easily outrun her. Halfway through the level you get a Hovertail ability, so yet another jump based power up, and this has to be one of the most poorly constructed malls ever. There are gaps in floating pieces of the floor everywhere, shoppers are stranded everywhere, how is anyone supposed to navigate this mall? Timmy's solution to get Tootie to hate him is that the mall's spa has mud baths, so if he gets dirty enough, it would be enough to undo the wish. The level ends off with a new digging ability that can be used on the flower pots throughout the spa. There aren't all that many obstacles in the spa. However, there are mud baths that you need to jump over, and falling in them causes you to take damage for some reason. This level is just okay. Not a great level, but not as bad as some of the other levels. After completing all 8 levels, the only thing left is the final boss to recover the last page of the rules. The final boss fight is against Vicky, who is turned into a dragon, and it has a nice idea behind it. Instead of attacking her directly, you need to get her to say, "I wish I never took the book from Timmy," by getting her to stomp on different panels on the ground, some pertaining to the phrase, others being red herrings. The problem with this fight is that, like most of the game, it's super easy to beat. Vicky's attacks are a complete joke and are not a problem to dodge. It's a shame that this boss is so easy, because the concept is pretty good and unique. With Vicky defeated, Cosmo and Wanda get the rules back, Timmy's parents come home,
I think I swallowed something.
I'm sure you did.
and everything turns back to normal.
Breaking the Rules is just a bizarre game. The gameplay is like a roller coaster of highs and lows that change between a solid licensed game and a boring experience. It has enough fan service to make any fan happy, with most of the show's main cast appearing and levels based off specific episodes, but I was actually hoping for more fan service. The Crimson Chin level was missing the most iconic villain, the Bronze Kneecap, and some of the other main cast of characters like Trixie, the popular kids, and Timmy's other friends, Elmer and Sanjay, were also absent. For these kind of games, it's usually best to go all out on the fan service, as, well, what do you have to lose? These games are made for the fans, so you might as well give them what they want. The worst part about this game is that it is just too easy. And yeah, it's a kid's game, but that doesn't mean it should be a cakewalk either. Just look at the Mario series, or Pokemon. Games made for a younger audience that start off easy, but then by the end of the game provide a fair bit of challenge that can be enjoyed by anyone, and are even harder to master. This is the level of difficulty that these kind of games should have, because then they could be enjoyed by everyone, instead of being, well, this. Oh, it seems like my forgetting to talk about video game collectibles alarm is going off. And, well, yes, this game does have some collectibles in it. Each level has 4 Crimson Chin cards, and when you find 4 of them, you unlock behind-the-scenes videos, plus clips from the show, including the music videos for Icky Vicky, Shining Teeth, and Vicky Free Summer, as well as some scenes from the opening of Abracatastrophe. This is a great bonus for fans, and the cards aren't that hard to find at all. But overall, this game is just kinda eh. So I give Fairly OddParents Breaking the Rules 2 wish stars out of 5. Play me out, Chip.
Hey Vicky, you're so icky. Just the thought of being around you makes me oh so sicky. Hey Vicky, won't you please explain why you get so much enjoyment out of causing kids pain?